and welcome back to a holiday Matsuri themed episode of Higurashi.
Yeah, as in, we're never do this again, right?
Yep. We're gonna do it one time and then never do it again because they fucked the dates so that we can't really go again.
Yeah.
To start this off, I'm gonna do editing Tyler a favor. Skip to this timestamp.
Timestamp is in the description. If I put the timestamp in the description, then I'll makes a chapter. So.
Oh, there you go. So
YouTube has that built in, so you know how to work YouTube.
Yeah, you've probably watched a YouTube video before. If you're this deep, you've definitely watched at least however many episodes are in the series at this point. Maybe like 140. It's at like 70 in Mayakashi. We'll probably get another 40 to 50 out of the next three games. Point is, I wanted to just talk a little bit about playing all of Higurashi, because it's been 2 years as of January this year?
Yeah.
If we run into, which we won't because we should finish up by December, it is September 10th as of recording. God, that means by the time that any of this shit will come up in the upload, it'll definitely be next year. Mm-hmm. By the time this gets uploaded. Meaning by the time this is uploaded, Higurashi has been going on for 3 years.
This will not be uploaded until probably... Given the fact that I'm editing video clips from September of last year, this probably won't be out until September of 2024. So
yeah, it has been 4 whole years of Higurashi.
Mm-hmm.
How's that feel? A long time.
I was gonna feel weird when we finish Umineko. Well, we'll have Sukonia. Do you think this is ever gonna end? Because you're invested now, right?
Oh, yeah.
You're here for the Ryukishi wild ride.
Oh, of course. Do you want to do this for Silent Hill 2?
The Silent Hill game? Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, we can.
But it'll be just like a side upload. I probably won't edit it.
Yeah, that's fine. But we can do an in-person Silent Hill 2. Or not? Is it Silent Hill 2 or is he making his own Silent Hill game?
But it's Silent Hill with the F, the music notational F.
Okay, I don't know why I said Silent Hill 2. Point is, we can do this for all of Ryukishi's projects.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, it's been crazy. We've been doing fucking Higurashi for 2 full years. You know, we keep joking about I've never had an apartment without Higurashi in it, which I think is really fucking funny. It's just been a really good time.
You know, it'll be a new apartment. Unless you're in your lease here, you will be in a new apartment by the time this episode comes out too.
I will.
We're doing Umineko.
Yeah, because we'll finish Higurashi in this apartment, and then by the time Umineko comes out, I will knock on wood be in my own apartment with just me. Hoping to God. By the start of Umineko. So then Higurashi is the Ryukishi game with roommates. And then Umineko is the Ryukishi game without roommates. And then maybe by the time we get around to Sukonia, I'll have a house. One could hope.
Maybe I won't. Maybe I'll have a job.
We're getting there, you know?
Hey, you guys watch my videos so this can be my job. That way, I don't have to worry about it anymore. That'd help.
The, millions of views the Higurashi series will print out, you know?
We all know Higurashi is an extremely popular series.
Yeah.
So there's just millions of people waiting in line
for content.
For somebody to play the game. So
yeah,
we're the first ones who've done this.
It's as popular as Street Fighter, fucking Minecraft, Tetris, the only game I don't think Higurashi is as popular as is probably Battle Block Theater.
Alright. You want to talk about whatever you want to talk about.
No, this was about it. I just wanted to do a silly reflection on the fact that we've been doing Higurashi for over 2 years.
What were your thoughts when I first messaged you about doing Higurashi?
Well, if we
at your house.
So if we want to run all the way back to like the first time I did Higurashi, which was the Twitch stream, which hopefully I'm hoping to God by the time that this video comes out, we have permanently deleted that video off the face of the earth.
There's an unlisted link to it on, I think, in every one of these descriptions. Maybe just the first episode. Hey, if we redo the first episode, I can just enlist that one and it's gone.
That's true. That's true. But yeah, no, we did this the first time. I thought the game was alright, and then we quit playing as soon as we got to the spooky shit. But you know, I've talked about this before, but we, you know, it's a recap, right? Yeah, you were like, hey, let's do Higurashi. We can do it at your place, and I was like, all right, you know, I'll give him the one game. He's like really into these. He really likes the Ryukishi stuff. I'm like, I know. Inevitably, I wanted to play Umineko. Like, I wanted to get around to Umineko on my own time at some point.
I know, when it comes to Umineko, it is such a time sink that getting anybody to start it without, you know, shackling them to yourself and doing it with them is impossible. So, I mean, Max hasn't finished episode 4.
How many episodes are there
in the past 4 years? There's 8 episodes, same as Higurashi.
Okay.
So he hasn't finished the question arcs, and
well, that's like, because you guys talked about Umineko a lot, and I thought it looked really cool. And in my mind, Umineko was like, it takes place in like the 17th century, like Victoria, England. And I was like, oh, this game looks pretty funny. Like, I'll get around to playing this. And Higurashi, I was like, it's whatever. Like, you know, it was one of those where I'm like, I do Umineko and then I play Higu. But you were like, yeah, let's fucking do Higurashi. I'll come over. We can record. We can play it. All right. You know, we get halfway through Umineko and I'm Higurashi. Higurashi, Onikakushi. We get halfway through Onikakushi and I'm dragging my nutsack through broken glass because holy fuck, I hate the start of that game so much. Like, I had already played it and thought it was alright when I played it the first time, like, and then playing it the second time, like, reading everything out, like, doing all that just took for fucking ever. But then we got to, like, the new shit, like, the spooky shit, and then it started popping the fuck off and getting, like, really fucking interesting. And then, you know, as I said, at the end of Onikakushi, I was sold, like, by the end of that game. As for Watanagashi, like, you know, I've talked about this plenty of times about, like, the video series and everything. Like, you know, Onikakushi is definitely rough.
Yeah.
In all aspects.
Nice word.
Yeah, it's rustic, as they like to say in cooking. Like, you know, it's rough. It's a tough watch. God,
it's really rough. God
bless you if you, like, actually willingly get through Onikakushi. Watanagashi gets a bit better. It's the technical issue chapter. But yeah, I loved Watanagashi. Like, I could really tell there was, like, something going on there. I definitely was a hell of a lot more, like, okay, it doesn't even show up. Hell of a lot more, like, invested and, like, sunk into it, you know, with, like, me popping the fuck off at Shion and, like, all this other stuff. Like, yeah, I was in that. Tatanagoroshi is when I think we kind of start coming into form with everything. Like, I also really enjoyed Tatanagoroshi. I think it's a little long.
Watanagashi?
Tatanagoroshi.
Tatarigoroshi?
Yeah, Tatarigoroshi, sorry. I think Tatarigoroshi drags on a little bit for me. Because I think my issue...
that's how I felt about Watanagashi, because Tatarigoroshi, it gives you that, I mean, it does drag, I mean, it is fairly long, but I mean, it goes through this entire process of Keiichi killing Teppei and hiding his body, and that's probably the chunk that is, like, the long part.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I really enjoyed when I read it by myself without reading it with somebody. I enjoyed the atmosphere of that entire thing. It was fucking captivating at the time. So
I think color dimension, like, crazy Keiichi is, like, the best part of the game. And I wish there was more of that. Because I think my issue with Tatarigoroshi is I thought there was going to be more of, like, color dimension crazy, like, batshit insane Keiichi. Which, sure, he goes, like, crazier as the game goes on, but there's definitely not, like, that same full energy of, like, the first time he does that and everything.
Right.
I do want to get my tier list of the 7 games once I kind of wrap this up. But no, I think it's good, but I think it definitely drags a little long. That is, you know, as I call it, our tangent chapter, because the episodes for that are all like 50 minutes to an hour minimum.
Yeah.
Himatsubushi, it's mint, dude. It's fucking mint. Like, it's actually just fucking mint. That is probably one of my favorite chapters. Like, I fucking love Himatsubushi. It is so much fun. And so I have a drinking problem. The fucking one of my favorite parts of the game is just Ryukishi just drops on you that like Rika is looping. And that like Rika is a unusual entity that is like predicting the future and doing all this stuff, and Akasaka is just a fucking himbo. Also, shout out, he never comes back in Higurashi.
He just comes, you know, Hinamizawa says hi to Rika, goes on vacation with his wife, comes back, says bye to Rika, and then goes home.
I thought he was gonna be way the fuck more involved in that chapter, and he is just not. But yeah, Himatsubushi's really, really good. I'm excited to finally get through Tatari Gurushi. As I said, I only have the one episode left, so I'm excited to get into like watching that. Miyakashi is a banger. That's the mind break chapter. The I reveal to Tyler I've been paying attention chapter.
I'm excited to get to that fucking edit. It's gonna be funny.
That shit's gonna be gold. I'm very excited to get through that. And Sumihoroboshi is just a banger. It's just all around a banger. It's like Himatsubushi. Everything's fucking good about that chapter. I think like how we read through it, the tangents we had, like actual VA work. I think I loved every single part of that. I mean, that's how it was with Minaguroshi. I think we fucking nailed every single goddamn part of the game. Like, I think we did very good with Sumihoroboshi and Minaguroshi.
Yeah,
I think we fucking nailed both of those games.
I'm feeling real confident about getting into Umineko and actually like having a decent like experience.
Yeah.
Like recording it, uploading it, doing the mystery shit.
Like doing the mystery shit, thinking about it, voicing it, like fucking playing it, getting together to play it. Like I think doing two a month.
We have a flow now.
Yeah, we have a flow. I think doing 2 a month has been perfect. Because it is like the perfect. You do it, we do 2 a month, you know, it's like probably, I always ball it at like 10 to 16 hours. You know, thank you very much. I think that's worked out great. Because I definitely think I would have struggled 100% if we tried to do it like every week.
Yeah,
I would have lost my mind. Because like, you know, we've talked about it before. Sorry, he handed me a watermelon gummy as I'm trying to talk. Fucking, like, with movie night in the Discord, you know, we did it, like, every single week, and it finally got to a point where it was just like, man, I want to do something else on Friday night. Like, holy fuck, I'd like to do something else on Friday night. But I think how we've been doing Higurashi is perfect. Like, I really do.
Yeah, I think it is perfect. I think...
And I think what's helped that is we're both very dedicated to this. Because, you know, I talked to another friend of ours, and you're not doxing on recording, you know. I talked to another friend of ours before, and they kind of mentioned, like, at the very beginning, it seemed very much like, oh, it's Tyler's project, he wants to do Higu, he wants to do all this shit, and I was like, sure, maybe, you know, for the first, like, quarter of Onikakushi, but then it turned into, like, our thing. You know, it very much feels like our project.
I may be fucking pulling your hand forward at the... and, like, pointing at shit for you to think about.
Sure.
But you're still here for the ride.
Yeah, no, it is very much, like, I really hope you feel the same way. It is very much, like, our project. And I have fucking loved that about it. And I think that is, like, really been the reason it's still going. And, like, here we are. We're on the fucking 8th game. We've been playing Higurashi twice a month for 2 years. Like, that's fucking crazy.
It is crazy that we've made it this far, huh?
Like,
we're all the way here. We're ready. We've done it. We're about to finish.
Like, that's insane.
Higurashi.
That
Start
is
chapter 8.
fucking insane. And it's not just that like, oh, we've been recording over Discord. We have been recording in person for over 2.5 fucking years in a row. Like, that's wild.
Yeah.
2.5 more for Women Echo, buddy.
Yes, sir.
We got that shit all day.
We're gonna get that shit done. All right. So,
Very last thing.
back. Now we look forward. What do you think this game is going to be about?
I think
What
this
are we gonna
game
cover?
is going to be about. Here, do you want me to do my tier list first, or do I?
Sure, go ahead. Do you
Okay.
do this?
Tier list first. Do I start from the bottom or do I start from the top?
You start from the bottom.
Oh, it's gonna be controversial. I'm gonna say it.
Actually, start in order. Go in order.
In order of the
Honeyrabbiit,
games?
Tatagashi, Higurashi.
Okay. Then I need to like physically write something down, or I'm gonna get lost.
You want to record it?
Oh yeah. See, I was gonna let you do this in like post or whatever, but
Yeah, I'm not. You can just record
Yeah,
it.
I'll
just
let me. I gotta.
Do you
add
have
my-
a desktop capture?
Do I have a desktop capture? I think I do. Which desktop is it? Oh, it's my OBS desktop capture. Perfect.
There you go.
So all right, let's get this shit on. Oh my god, that's so big. This is a professional recording, man. Oh, that's
Clearly, we just need the tier list maker and open that up.
It's too late. There we go.
Yeah.
That works. So I'm just gonna do like the first
Onika.
2 or 3 letters, or like just Oni. So Oni Kikuchi, it is. It's towards the bottom. It's definitely towards the bottom. It is a solid 6th on the list. I don't think it's the worst. It's definitely not my least favorite, but it's in the bottom half.
How much of that is the recording experience going with like the rereading it twice?
I would say a quarter of that plays into it. If without the recording experience, I'd probably put it 5th.
Interesting.
But Oni Kikuchi, it was just.
So we're rating our. Well, never mind. If we were rating our sessions, it would just be in order.
Yeah, it would just be in order. No, Oni Kikuchi is just like, I think it's plain. It's really plain. It's very good. It's like eating a nice, you just eat chicken, rice, and broccoli. Not a lot of crazy wild shit going on. Nice and simple. It's just boom right then and there. Lays all the foundations you need to create the rest of the series. Introduces you to the characters, sets you up with a bit of the mystery, gives you a bit of the like what's going on, is Keiichi a reliable narrator, like introduces you into Ryukishi's style, like it is the perfect fucking introduction chapter. But as compared to everything else, it is towards the bottom. My other hot take is Watanagashi. I also think is again towards the bottom, man. Like, I think Watanagashi's really good. I really like it. I like the introduction of Shion. I like everything in it. As you said, it drags on a little much.
Yeah.
It definitely drags. And you get to the last scene, which is honestly probably my favorite part of the game, is like Mion and Shion, like the whole mix up with them in the cages and like doing all that shit. That is so fucking good. I love that shit so much. Like the end of Watanagashi is so good. The start of it's pretty good. And then the middle part is just,
I don't know. That last, I think that the ending, the bit right before the ending, that is like what Shion's speech is like the problem with the game.
where Shion monologues for like an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's the problem with the game. Beyond that, I think it's fine. I have no problem with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I would agree with that. Watanagashi drags. And I think my hot take.
I wouldn't put it above Onikakushi though.
Really?
No.
Interesting. I definitely put it above Onikakushi, but that's because I really fucking like Shion. I'm a Shion enjoyer, and I'm also like the fact that I was so fucking sold that Shion did not fucking exist. And I got completely rug-pulled that she's real. And then the reflection when you hit Mayakashi, when you realize that Mion had never done anything wrong in her entire fucking life, it just makes Watanagashi like that much more enjoyable.
Such a good girl. She does nothing wrong.
Because like the reveals for Onikakushi is like, I feel you don't really get the Onikakushi payoff until you finish Minagoroshi. Being like, oh, holy shit, that's like kind of the cure that they're trying to use on Keiichi when it's terminal, and like, oh, the mountain dogs are involved with Irie, like in capturing the terminal suspects to do everything, like, and I think
the key revelation obviously is in chapter 6 for that though, right?
Yeah.
Is that everything he was fucking imagining shit. There's a persecution complex going on the entire time. And he killed his friends trying to help him. And that's what recontextualizes the whole chapter into like a more of a tragedy than you like expected that you see it as.
I really enjoy that part. I'm sucked into the political drama right now. Like,
it's just funny because usually when people get to the political drama, they lose their interest.
See, you gotta remember, one of my favorite characters in Persona 5 is No Good Tora, who is just the political drama, like how politics work guy. And that's like one of my favorite side confidants in that game. But my big hot take of the day is I definitely think Tatari Higurashi, man, it's at the bottom.
That's wow.
It is my least favorite. I think it's really, really good. Like, I guess on this tier list is obviously not like, all of them are really fucking good, right?
It's just your preference order.
Exactly. Like, it's not like, oh, I think Tatari Higurashi fucking sucks, and if you like it, kill yourself. It's, out of all the games, it's my least favorite. I really love all of the Nini stuff. I really love all the Sadako stuff. Like, it's all really, really, really good. It's just, as I said, it drags on too much for me to like in it. Like, I have a slight disconnect with Tatari Higurashi.
Definitely, Tatari, Oni, Watanagashi kind of guy. Tatari is one of my favorites it's probably the favorite of the question arcs. My favorite.
That's super fair.
It's probably, for me, well, you'll talk about this one next. It's probably Tatari. Onikakushi and Himasabushi are really close. It might be Tatari, Himatsubushi, Onikakushi, Watanagashi.
Yeah, that's fair. I can see that. That's really fair.
3, 4, 1, 2.
I think I think what really disconnected me in Tatari Higurashi is, as I told you earlier, I really fucking wanted more just like pure unadulterated batshit crazy like color dimension Keiichi. And like, I just wanted it to get fucking insane.
Yeah.
Because, you know, he says at the beginning of the game, this is the hardest one to figure out. So I was just like, I want this to go fucking crazy. I want everything to go batshit fucking crazy. And I just don't think it went crazy enough. It gets wild and it gets wacky, but it wasn't in kind of the way that I wanted. Like, I wanted more of, and I talked about it the whole time, like, I wanted more of, like, the Keiichi goes more in the direction of, like, oh, the only way to protect Sadako from the world is, like, to kill her. And, like, I wanted more of, like, Keiichi starts killing people thinking he's, like, protecting them. Like, I wanted that kind of direction with Tatari Higurashi. I do like the Keiichi thinks he has the power to curse people to death. Like, I think that's really fucking funny. I do really, really enjoy that.
Yeah.
But I definitely wanted more of, like, kind of the Keiichi leans more into, like, oh, I'm trying to be a protector and, like, the protector role and, like, everything like that. And that's why he ends up, like, killing people and, like, doing shit the way he does. Like, you know, it more in a direction of, like, oh, I fucking hate Takano, like, she could be figuring that out because, or I hope Takano dies because this could have a blowback on Sadako's happiness and, like, me protecting Sadako and, like, all this other stuff. Like, I think that's kind of where I wanted it to go a bit more. And that's where I kind of thought it was going to go as it was going on. So I think that's what my disconnect is with Tatari Hiroshi.
Okay.
I was hoping for the obsessive Keiichi, I am LARPing as Sadako's brother game.
Yeah.
But Himatsubushi, it's a hard one. It's a hard one.
I know you're eyeing that number one spot for you.
I know. It's such a hard one. I'm such a sucker for like detective stuff and like buddy cop stuff, and like Oishi is like my favorite character in the game, and Akasaka is like such a good fucking boy. It's hard, man.
You want to skip over that one and come back to it?
No, I have, because I'm torn on all four. I'm like horribly torn on all four.
I think Himatsubushi marks the where like we're actually capable of doing this like semi competently. So that's why that's like all four of them are probably.
Like, I could put all four of them in any slot.
Mm-hmm.
I really could.
So you got to figure out which parts you like more than others.
You know what? We'll do it. We'll do it. Himatsubushi, it's number one, baby.
Yeah.
It's Him, right?
Yeah, Himatsubushi.
Yeah. Himatsubushi. He's him, dude. It's the greatest chapter. Like, it's the best fucking chapter, man.
My pronouns are he, they, because I'll never be him.
Like, it's short, it's sweet, it's fucking funny, it's really entertaining, it has a lot of like weirdness to it. I really like seeing I think my favorite part is seeing Hinamizawa from an outsider perspective.
That's what Keiichi's perspective is, though.
No, but like Akasaka gives a different perspective than Keiichi does.
Yeah.
Because Keiichi is like an outsider perspective that gets accepted into the village like as a kid. Like he's a kid.
Yeah.
I really enjoy Akasaka's perspective of being an outsider that is like an undercover officer, and like the stuff to do with the dam war and the guardians and everything like that, and his kind of expectation of what everything is going to be versus like what it actually turns out being, and like how the villagers actually turn out being, like, and then all of his stuff with Rika's really, really fucking good. Oishi is chef's kiss. Fucking love that guy.
Play Oishi theme now.
Yeah. But like I think it's all really, really fucking good. I think it works great.
My thing with Himatsubushi is definitely the Rika aspect of it, because when I read it the first time, I definitely enjoyed, going through Akasaka's perspective and getting a Oishi theme and having doing the buddy cop. But after reading it, it's the thing that really, and especially after knowing the answers, the thing that really sticks out to me is everything from Rika's perspective of her going to the bus stop and meeting him there, her trying to keep him from everything she does to she says go back to Tokyo, but she's asking for his help, and like that entire that scene is Himatsubushi for me. Is that scene where Rika's with the moon in the background and Rika's just telling Akasaka she doesn't want to die. That is my favorite part of Himatsubushi.
It's really fucking good. And as you said, with the added layer of like hindsight into Himatsubushi, it makes it so fucking good, dude. And this is where, again, I already said all four of these, like 1 through 4 is completely interchangeable, right? Mayakashi, I definitely, Mayakashi is, I will say, look at that E, that's a funky looking E. Mayakashi, I think, is probably the weakest of the answer arcs.
For sure, it is the weakest of the answer arcs, because all it does, which is weird, I didn't know this, all it does is redo Watanagashi. It doesn't do it from her perspective, it just does it again.
Yeah.
Which we found out last chapter.
Yeah.
We found out that it's just, did we find that out? Or am I, anyway, it just happens again. I think we found out in that very beginning of,
yeah, because Rika talks about like Keiichi going crazy and Shion going crazy and like all that type of stuff.
Anyway.
And kind of what it leads to.
I have a hard time separating what we know from the series and what I've learned from outside of the series.
It's also, whether I knew that or not, I fully agree. It's just literally Watanagashi.
Well, yeah.
again, and,
I mean, that's not like a
is,
spoiler type of thing.
Yeah, exactly. But no, it literally is just Watanagashi again.
Mm-hmm.
It's Watanagashi. The best part about Mayakashi is everything that leads up before Keiichi gets there. Mayakashi. The best part of Mayakashi is everything before Keiichi gets there. Because that is actually the new information, and we get all the Satoshi stuff, who is my baby fucking boy. He is baby girl, and you get like all of this really good, like Shion stuff, the Sonozaki stuff, like everything before fucking Keiichi gets there, and then Keiichi gets there, and it's Watanagashi again.
And that's the thing with Mayakashi is you're stuck in Shion's POV, and when I read it the first time, I just felt suffocated by Shion. It was crazy.
I got lucky in the fact that I like Shion.
I didn't hate Shion. Mayakashi made me hate her more. Mayakashi made me hate her in that game, but I still appreciate the character. I don't hate it. It pisses me off in that game.
I'm gonna be real with you. If I did not like Shion, Mayakashi would be number 7.
Yeah.
The fact that I like Shion moves Mayakashi up 3 games. like the fact that I like her character and I really enjoy Satoshi is what saves this entire fucking game. And I love Kasai. He's my boy.
Mayakashi would probably just end up. Yeah, it would probably just end up being at the bottom because it's an answer arc for me. Because all the question arcs are really that good for me.
Now, here is actually going to be the hardest fucking part. Where do I put Sumo Horoboshi?
Sumi Horoboshi is incredible.
I think Sumo Horoboshi is stronger through the entire game, but I don't think it peaks as high as Minagoroshi does. I think Minagoroshi has a higher peak, but I think Minagoroshi also has lower lows than Sumo Horoboshi does.
Yeah.
I think on average,
does that move the average down then?
That's what I'm torn about, because I really think Sumo Horoboshi is great. I love it. I think it's really, really fucking good. You know what also is the reason why I struggled to put Himatsubushi at the top and why that was a real debate? The end of Sumo Horoboshi. That is honestly my favorite thing.
I still want to do that shadow box, but I can't.
That is my favorite thing to ever have happened in Higurashi. And probably will be my favorite thing to happen in Higurashi.
I really want to make a shadow box out of that fucking... That moon in the background and what she says, and you're... That's really good, so...
Oh man, do I move I'm moving it.
Uh-oh, he's moving it.
I'm moving it.
There it goes.
Sumo Horoboshi.
And that just kind of decides all of it, doesn't it?
It does. It's got to be at the top, dude. It has to be. It's too good. It's TSU?
Yep.
It's too good. It's such a good fucking chapter, man. It's too fucking good. Like, it's so fucking good, man. It's, yeah, and
Matsuri. No, Minago. Yeah, right. You got it.
Yeah, I think that's my tier list. I think that's where I'm at.
All right.
I think Sumo Horoboshi is my favorite. Very biased. I am incredibly fucking biased. I am like violently biased towards Sumo Horoboshi. I am also violently biased towards Himatsubushi. But I think Minagoroshi was really good. But as you'll hear on the recording and everything like that, like it definitely took a little bit to get me sold in. Like it took going through probably the first third of the game before I was like, all right, now I'm enjoying this. Like this is really good.
Yeah.
I think if we were to talk like objectively without my bias, I definitely would say going from bottom to top like 7 to 1. Easily Onikakushi, Watanagashi, Tatarigaroshi. Or no, I'd say Onikakushi, Watanagashi, Mayakashi, Tatarigaroshi, Himatsubushi, Minagoroshi, and Sumo Horoboshi. Like in objective, like quality level. That's what I think it is. But like my personal opinion with my biases, and holy fuck, when do I get to have my Keiichi run a fight to the death on a roof that leads into like, hi, I want to spend the rest of my life with you. Sumohodoboshi's still on the top, dude. Like,
All right.
But yeah, that's
All right. Well, when you listen to this in a year, go ahead and in the comment. In the comments, let us know if you have any changes to that.
If anything is different.
Yeah.
So then, as you said, you can ask what you're doing before the tier list tangent. Sorry about that. About what to expect in this. You know,
yeah.
What
What are you expecting in this? What are you expecting in this game? What do you think we're gonna cover?
I think this is obviously going to involve a lot of Tokyo.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're going to talk about Tokyo a lot. I feel like we're definitely going to talk about Takano and like her past and like kind of her backstory. I think there will be like a kind of big focus on like Takano and Tomatake. I think that will definitely be in there. I am really hoping this is going to be the Rika says fuck you chapter.
Yeah.
And just everything is about Rika clowning on Takano start to finish. But yeah, other than that, I have no idea what to expect going into this. Because as Ryukishi said, the mystery's solved. Like, we know what Hinamizawa syndrome is. We know what happens to the village. We know why everyone does what they do. Mm-hmm. We know the answer to every single other game before. Like, any other question you have, boom, it's answered by Higurashi. Like, I don't know what the fuck there is left. Other than, like, all the shit with Tokyo and kind of, like, the political drama and, like, why Takano wants to be a god. And, like, why she is thirsting so hard because of her fucking ego. Like,
all right.
I'm very, very interested.
Well, in that case, are you ready to get started?
We're gonna fucking start the last game, man. Watch as the sound is wrong.
Matsuribayashi. At least let it end with the blissful dream. Festival accompanying chapter. The riddle you have been entrusted with solving now finally becomes unraveled. What must be done to stop the chain? And what will happen in the ultimate end? It's a showdown between the conclusion you reached and the one I reached. There is no difficulty. You should understand that by now.
I do. I really do. He did.
Everyone is entitled to happiness. The difficult part is accepting that. Everyone is entitled to happiness. The difficult part is fulfilling that. I, too, am entitled to happiness. The difficult part is working out a compromise. Frederica Berncastel.
I can't wait to meet Frederica.
This is a work of fiction. Any resemblance to actual persons or organizations is entirely coincidental. The study was filled with piles of books and papers.
I forgot I had that.
In that study, there was a full-figured old man writing something at his desk in utmost concentration. There was also a little girl sorting out papers on the carpet.
Is this Takano and her granddad?
She almost looked as though she was playing with them, but the serious expression she was wearing made it clear that she wasn't. Alright.
Is this a new character?
Do I just do like the Rika type of voice for this or something? Because it's a little tiny baby child.
Grandpa. Yeah, but here we are. You know, you got Grandpa. And... Yes, my nephew.
Grandpa. It's gonna start Rika and we're gonna work on it.
Yeah, we're gonna cook.
I'm done sorting them out.
That's me.
You're an old man. You're Grandpa.
Oh, I know I had a really good voice for this in Sumohodoboshi, but I completely forgot.
Well, you got the files on your computer. You can go find them right after this.
It's me, your Grandpa.
He's a researcher.
All right, we'll work on it. It'll go as it goes on. Thank you. Let's see, what happened?
Look, there are lots of people with the same symptoms. It's way higher than the national average.
That's exactly what I expected. There's an intriguing
Treaties
over here too. It discusses psychosurgery and civilization. It also predicts the existence of parasites that inhabit the frontal lobe.
The frontal lobe is what causes emotions.
Five Nights at Freddy's.
Cut.
That's right. Emotions aren't created by the heart. They're just side effects of the chemicals secreted by an organ known as the brain. If parasites...
You're turning into a Sesame Street character, my guy. What is happening?
If parasites capable of acting on that organ did exist and spread to create a colony, then that colony's thoughts would be unified.
So are the parasites the cause of the spread of ideology? When the ideologies clash, is that because different parasites are competing to expand their habitat?
Remember when we talked about this would be the best one? Start with Sesame Street, Walmart Eureka. Great Value Eureka. We have Great Value Eureka and fucking a Muppet.
You know what edit to make of that. If you don't remember what edit to make of that, well,
it's your fault, you know? That, or to expand religion, to expand national borders, or to expand a race.
sprite edit, not like an actual edit, by the way.
It's hypothesized that our differing cultural communities and their conflicts are the result of parasites influencing human thoughts.
There are people in other countries who think the same thing as you, Grandpa.
Of course there are. There are countless parasites on this earth, and it's well known that some coexist with their hosts, and some control their hosts. We've also discovered plenty of parasites that infect humans.
That was so close to a German voice.
That was so close. Dude, when you went Bugleberry? Fucking Bugleberry voice!
When you went down with the voice, it was full on Bugleberry.
The Granpa voice goes hard. We're cooking here. We're making something right now.
Bugleberry. We're ruining this like nice little scene where they're expositing to us how ideologies could work. By the way, Bugleberry. Kill yourself now.
This goes hard, dude. Shit. Well, yet despite that, we adamantly deny that possibility. That parasites could infect humans and control their hosts. Even the hypothesis of such is a thing.
Oh, such a thing.
Whoops.
Why do you think that is? Our humans aren't special in any way.
Because that hypothesis would also mean changing our view to the spread of ideologies from the perspective of
Epidemiology.
epidemiology.
Fuck, I fucked up.
I don't know how to say anything. If conflicts...
Epidemiology.
I don't know. No,
Man, fuck the word. If conflicts in ideology can be resolved through debate, then they're peaceful. But if those conflicts occur epidemically...
That's epidemic? Epidemically.
Epidemically, they become frightening.
And if one were to treat bad thoughts or the spread of culture as an epidemic?
Think about the Black Plague in Europe during the Middle Ages. A vile infectious disease spread. They forced infected people into hospitals and didn't release them until they completely recovered. Some even died in those hospitals. They burned their corpses. They confiscated and burned everything those patients touched for fear the plague infected it. They even suspected families of infection and forced them into hospitals.
So they hospitalized healthy people over individual ideas.
Just make his fucking granddaughter... Yeah.
I can't do yeah.
Replace an idea with a disease. The rest is the same. Patients won't be released until they completely recover. People burn everything that may have been touched by the patient. They force the patient's family to go to the hospital.
People are free to think what they will, right? Thoughts aren't pests.
If an idea was created by a parasite, it would be exactly the same as a plague. In other words, an idea like an incurable epidemic.
Idea is like an incurable epidemic.
So you mean anyone with a different idea is treated like they have a disease?
That's right. If we bring this to its logical conclusion, parasites could be responsible for mass murders of people's...
Fuck. What is Mickey Mouse doing?
Could be... Oh boy! Be responsible for mass murders of people belonging to different races or religions. But this can be seen as justifying genocide. Therefore, talking about parasites in the brain has been taboo since the war.
What does taboo mean?
It means something people shouldn't get involved with. That's why nobody researches these things. Nobody even remembers anything about parasites that live in the brain. They assume that parasites which control humans simply don't exist.
That's almost funny. How can they prove something that doesn't exist? That's just impossible.
Exactly.
Fair enough. Golly.
Proving that the devil exists is easy. You just have to show him to someone. But you can't prove he doesn't exist. You can't show somebody something that doesn't exist.
It's called a devil's proof.
Wow.
It's almost as if the parasites in the brain are controlling people so that they can keep their own existence a secret. Me and my grandfather shared a happy laugh together.
This is the Takanos, for sure. Humans are simply another animal in this natural world. We might be at the top of the food chain, but it's foolish to think that we are superior to others. Humans can be controlled by parasites. Just because the existence of such parasites hasn't been proven doesn't mean they don't exist. They exist. I know they do.
That's happened before in the scientific world, right?
That's right. Not all scientists are recognized for their work while they're alive. There were many who were ridiculed and couldn't prove their theories to be true.
But Grandpa, I hope your theory will be recognized before you die. Otherwise, it would be so sad.
Don't worry. God doesn't ignore people who work hard. Hard work always pays off in the end.
But when will that happen?
Nobody knows when God is going to descend from heaven. Just like you never know when you'll be robbed. So we always have to be alert and ready so that we don't miss our chance. I was right, this is the Takanos.
That was something my grandfather said all the time. Nobody knows when efforts will bear fruit, but it will happen one day. That's why you must always work hard, so you have no regrets when the time comes. Your efforts will bear fruit someday.
Yes, they will.
That's what he meant. But is it going to happen before you die? Even though there are so many scientists whose work wasn't recognized while they were alive? That was such a cruel thing to say, but I didn't mean to be cruel. I had seen how hard my grandfather had been working, and I also knew he wouldn't live forever. I just wanted his work to gain recognition before he died.
Do you know of the resurrection of Jesus Christ?
You're making it so much worse. Yeah. He was crucified and resurrected after 3 days. You told me about it.
That's right. How do you think Jesus was resurrected?
Didn't he just get up as if he was waking up in the morning?
He was buried after his execution, so his body was in the ground.
Did he break open the tombstone and crawl out like a zombie?
No. That wouldn't be called a resurrection. The sinners who killed Jesus imagined exactly the same thing.
Jesus predicted just before he was executed that he would come back to life after 3 days. The sinners buried Jesus, sealed his tomb, and posted guards to watch over it. But what Jesus meant wasn't that he would resurrect physically. He meant his teachings would be resurrected. After 3 days, Jesus' teachings were resurrected, and people regained their belief. The hearts of those who wanted to be shown the proper way to revive his teachings.
I didn't know Higurashi, when they cry, required you to read the Bible.
It's not as required as it is for Siconia.
You need the Bible for Siconia?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
That's what the resurrection of Jesus is all about. He came back to... At least we think we do. It's only in phase 1 right now. He came back to life in the hearts of his believers. Jesus doesn't exist physically on this earth, but he exists in people's hearts. In other words, that's when Jesus became an existence superior to humans.
Even if it's after the author's death, as long as his works receive a fair evaluation, it will live again as a great achievement. Even if my body is gone by then, my life will return and receive recognition.
Doesn't that mean you'll become a god, just like Jesus did?
Indeed! My research will be recognized for what it is someday. That's when I will become a god. That's why I'm not in a rush to achieve that recognition. I don't know when that day will come. God doesn't know that either. But the day will come. That's why I need to continue to work as hard as I can.
It was very sad to hear my grandfather say that his life would end someday. He wasn't ill, and he didn't only have a few years left to live. But sat next to the average lifespan, his remaining years didn't look like much. The only person left in my life was my grandfather. I didn't even want to consider what it would be like with him gone. Grandfather must have remembered that I didn't like to talk about that subject. With a tender smile, he gently patted my head.
Of course I want my research to be recognized before I die. I will do my best.
Yep, I'll do my best to help you too. I purposely didn't mention the before you die part. I caught myself before I said it.
Thank you. That makes me very happy to hear.
Grandfather smiled in satisfaction. His research wasn't exactly outrageous. He wasn't trying to uncover the mysteries of the universe. He was only searching for the possibility that parasites could be responsible for human behavior. Nothing more than that. Nothing outrageous. It really wasn't a wild idea. We even had some leads. Hinamizawa Village, Shishibone City, X-Prefecture. The villagers there are possessed by a powerful homesickness. When they are unable to return, they allegedly behave abnormally, as if they are cursed. There are also some bizarre rules in place in the village based on their belief system. When he was working with the military during the war, my grandfather noticed similarities between the people in Hinamizawa and assumed that some kind of existence was responsible for their odd behavior. He'd been researching it ever since then. In the middle of the 20th century, numerous strange diseases were discovered all over Japan. Most of them were caused by infectious parasites, and people started to pay attention to this forgotten field of study.
I know I've already said this a lot. This is really a Dragon Quest track. This is like a Dragon Quest in a town out in a field track.
I don't know. I've watched Demolition D play Dragon Quest. I don't know if it's because he installed the fucking music mod or whatever, but
Which one do you play?
the most recent one. No good?
The most recent one's alright. It's got some really funny stuff in it, but this is like Dragon Quest 11, like Starlight Express, like on the DS, like type music.
Gotcha. Because it's constantly orchestral music, and sometimes it doesn't change a track for 2 hours.
Yeah, yeah. That's how the newer ones are. This is definitely much more like.
It's actually like at some point you're like, oh my god, does this music ever change? It's just it gets oppressive.
The new one's Dragon Quest 14.
I think so.
Yeah, this is my favorite that I always played was I think Dragon Quest 11. It's the one where you start out as an angel and then like you fall out of heaven onto Earth and like lose your halo, and so then the story's about getting your halo back.
Eat.
It's really good.
Grandfather's research was simply one of those investigations into such diseases. Therefore, he believed it would be published among other research and attain recognition soon. But if his research didn't bear fruit before his death, I wanted to continue it. I wanted to continue his research. Grandfather taught me, resurrection isn't something that happens physically. It's when your life's work is appreciated. That's what he meant by resurrection. That's when he'll become a god. So when my grandfather dies, he'll still be with me forever. I wouldn't have to be alone ever again. I'll always be with my grandpa. Our works will gain recognition, and we will both become gods, gaining eternal peace. I will make my grandfather into a god. I will become a god. Therefore, we will be granted eternity. we'll be together forever and ever.
Remember when I was like, we're gonna get more Takano and Tomatake lore in this game? Goodbye!
I don't even know where the chapter ends here.
I was looking at the key on a keychain. The key was labeled Hen House. The lock Iriko was trying to open didn't belong to that door. Hold on.
Who is this?
It should have opened effortlessly. At least that's what was supposed to happen. But it didn't open. I noticed beads of sweat forming on Eriko's forehead.
Are they... Did Takano go to that fucking St. Jude's or whatever it is? St. June's?
No.
The
it's
school
not.
that Shion went to?
You made me forget the name.
You know what I'm talking
I
about.
know what you're talking about.
St. Lucia's?
Yes. St. Lucia or something like that.
St. Lucia's?
St. Lucia. Yeah, St. Lucia.
I was right. Yeah, that's right.
She was the one who came up with this idea. Eriko was starting to panic. The rest of us started to panic too.
Eriko?
Yeah, sure. It's just a girl.
This only opens the hen house. Let's stop. Let's go back.
Shush! We were supposed to be cleaning out the hen house. If they found us back here, if they found out why we were here and why we were trying to open the lock to the back door, then all four of us were sure to be sentenced to splayed piggy.
What?
Don't panic, Eriko. That key opens this lock, right? You already tried it, right?
Will you shut up for a minute? This is the right key. It's just hard to open, that's all.
She was almost shrieking. Our hearts were pounding loudly. It was as though the sound of our heartbeats were echoing throughout the hallway. At that point, we heard footsteps that didn't belong to a child. Shh! Somebody's coming. The three of us held our breath, but Eriko didn't hear it. She kept fussing with the lock and key, as if everything would be okay if she could just open the lock. Eriko, someone is coming. Be quiet.
I know this is the right key. I'm not dreaming. I already tried and I opened it. Come on. Why isn't this working? When this lock is open, we can be happy and we can say goodbye to this hell.
Eriko, someone's coming.
Yeah, I'm saying the Takano went to St. Lucia's. Lucia.
My father and mother died.
Is this just the Takano game?
What's that little icon down there?
God fucking damn it. I didn't even look! Do you have a Takano keychain?
No.
Ah!
I don't know exactly how old they were. I was too young to remember. They went shopping without me, and that must be why they were punished. It was a train accident. What a horrible disaster. A lot of people died in that incident? But maybe my father was one of the lucky ones. He was still alive when he arrived at the hospital, so he was able to share his final words with me. My mother died instantly. Daddy, 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 Daddy! I don't want to admit that this person I could hardly recognize was my father. As I called out to him, I hoped that it was someone else instead. But, unfortunately, it was my father. Maybe I shouldn't have woken him, because when I woke him up, he was reminded of the miserable agony that he had forgotten.
Oh.
Daddy, 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 Daddy. He tried to move his right arm so he could pat my head, but his arm was wrapped in bandages, and his hand was no longer there. I couldn't find his hand anywhere on the bed. I only had scary memories of his right hand. Its main job was to slap me when I did something bad, but I never wished it to be gone. Besides, that hand also patted my head, even though that only happened a few times. It was a big, warm hand, and it stroked my head very gently. But no matter what good deeds I did, he could no longer rub my head. No, his hand was the least of his worries. He had to go into emergency surgery. The doctors already warned me that the chance of him surviving was very low. That's why I was allowed to see him, regardless of his condition. Not only could he no longer rub my head, he might be gone forever. Daddy, the surgery will make you feel better, right? Daddy, you'll get better, right? Right?
Listen carefully. Your daddy might not make it. Even if I die, you have to be strong, okay?
No. You'll get better. The doctor is going to make you better, so you're not going to die. He was a stubborn and old-fashioned father. He believed endurance was a virtue, and he never complained about anything. That was why I couldn't believe he actually said he might not make it. I tried desperately to deny his words, but even that wish wouldn't prolong his life. My father, knowing his time was limited, tried to tell me some important things, but I interrupted his efforts by crying like a baby. I just wanted him to slap me, just like he used to. He used to do every time I cried like a baby, but he would never slap me again.
Listen well. Your mother and I both lost all of our family in the war. So, after I'm dead, there won't be anyone left to take care of you.
He didn't need to tell me that. My parents used to tell me that all the time, so I was aware of that fact. In other words, my father was the only relative I had left in this entire world.
If I die, you can count on Dr. Takano. Oh? Dr. Hifumi Takano. Can you say it?
Hifumi Takano.
That's right. Dr. Hifumi Takano. He is my former teacher. He will help you.
Daddy. Many doctors came into the room in a hurry. He wanted to tell me something else, but the doctor stopped him from talking, so I wasn't able to hear him. I was kicked out of the room. I didn't know what to do. Nobody told me how my father was doing or when the surgery was going to start. And nobody told me that was going to be the last conversation I ever had with my father. I think I asked people at the government office about Dr. Takano. They'd asked me if I knew his phone number. I said I didn't. Then they asked me if I... Then they didn't ask me anything further. Sometimes they told me they'd look into it, but nothing led to anything. They couldn't find me a guardian, so I ended up going to an orphanage. At the time, there were plenty of orphans from the war, so although there were many orphanages around, they were all full. There were also some orphanages run by civilians. I was sent to one of those civilian orphanages. There was no profit to be had by taking in an orphan in the first place, so I thought those civilians who were running orphanages must have been very good people. I was sure they hoped that the children would grow into this loving environment and enter society with a sense of gratitude. But reality isn't so kind. How many children in this world can actually express their gratitude towards their parents in the first place? Children are supposed to be nurtured by their parents' love. Therefore, when that environment is destroyed, their hearts are wounded. Every child has his or own personality. Receiving affection doesn't guarantee that a child will become someone angelic. Excuse me. Not everyone's heart can be healed. That's why there were some problem kids at the orphanages. Oh my god.
Orphanage.
Maybe I shouldn't call them problem kids, though. The sadness and despair of losing their parents and the anger of having to hide such feelings filled those kids' hearts. Spending time individually with the children could have solved their problems. But at the orphanage where I was, none of the staff members even tried to spend time with them or put in an effort to understand them. All they could do was make sure that the kids followed the rules. Therefore, they could only see the children's emotional pleas for help as problems. In this world, nobody expresses love without expecting something in return. The person who founded that orphanage was expecting something in return as well. He wanted the children to appreciate him. That was why such a faint dream was destroyed by cruel reality. The children called the orphanage a prison, and nobody appreciated the staff at all. In fact, all they did was complain. That made the staff slowly realize that the love alone couldn't run a facility like that. Just like how the children called it prison, The staff started to recognize the facility as a prison too. It was a chain reaction resulting from mistrust on both sides. The staff bound children with rules so they would suppress problem behavior. There was a framed picture of the founder of this orphanage, but I had never seen him in person. Was he satisfied with the fact that he put his own money into this social service? Or maybe he finally realized his dream of being surrounded by angelic children and being celebrated for what he did was simply that, a dream. I don't know, but there's one thing I'm certain of. Such a dream didn't exist at the orphanage. There were so many rules and several plausible standards outlined for us, but the most valued one was silence. Children's chatter tends to increase each other's volume, just like mics drawing closer, and sometimes that leads to fight and the disturbance of order. So children were forbidden from speaking with each other. With those disallowed, they must have thought things would go smoothly. However, I think I always heard people's voices at the orphanage. There were two kinds of voices. One was the staff yelling, and the other was the children crying. We were not allowed to walk around inside the orphanage freely, so we never knew who it was that was crying. One time, along with the crying and yelling, we heard the noise of the metallic things being smashed against each other. We knew it was some kind of punishment, but there was no way for us to even imagine what it was. We trembled, pretended we didn't hear anything, and kept working on our assignments. One of my roommates told me it was the casket punishment, but she didn't tell me any further, and I didn't want to know either. Even if we behaved exactly the same way as yesterday, if the staff were in a bad mood, they might pick on us. So even if I didn't want to know, I might suddenly find out what the casket punishment is one day. The footsteps of a staff member were getting closer. We noticed them, so we straightened our backs and pretended we were studying hard. It was more important that the staff saw us doing so than us actually getting any work done. I noticed the girl next to me was falling asleep, so I poked her with my elbow. She had noticed my signal and straightened her back like the other children. It was almost evening. This was the hardest time for us to keep ourselves awake, and the most dangerous time. The door to our room opened, and a mean-looking man showed up. Then he looked around to make sure none of us were falling asleep. Even if we were actually studying hard, if he thought we were asleep, we were out. That was why he had to make sure we appeared to be studying. We had to make sure we appeared to be studying very hard. The man walked around our desks. I hoped he would just walk by me. That's what we all prayed as we kept working on our homework. The more we pretended to study hard, the more we could hear the sound of metal objects. The sound of metal objects crashing into each other, along with screams. We couldn't even imagine what the poor subject of that punishment was going through. Maybe there was something even worse than the casket punishment. To reach such fears, we tried to concentrate even harder on our work. We kept working, as the metal sounds and the screams went on forever. The only time we were allowed to exchange words with our roommates was right after turning the lights off to go to bed. Being located in the middle of the mountains, the orphanage was very quiet at night. Making sure the staff members were far enough from our room, we enjoyed talking amongst ourselves. That was the only leisure time allowed us. Though it wasn't anything nice like enjoying pleasant conversation. Why? Because we mostly talked about others behind their backs. We spoke of things like that member of staff is only strict or unfair or malicious towards this person, and so on. We just repeated those topics forever until someone couldn't keep themselves awake anymore. We even discussed how we could get back at the staff, and we took revenge on all of them in our imagination. Some kids even started to cry when talking about it, difficult as it was for us. Although the subjects we spoke of were negative, talking about them was the only way to vent our frustration, and even though we felt despair about tomorrow, we were able to fall asleep. But sometimes, a different subject popped up. It was about the Yurigaoka, House of Love and Mercy on the other side of the river. Yeah.
Yeah, over there I hear they get not only nap time, but snacks too. Plus, their president's a very nice person.
The House of Love and Mercy was a privately run orphanage, just like the one I was at. But it was a very kind facility, unlike ours. It seemed like a fantasy land compared to our current environment. A few years before, when this place was a lot worse, a few children tried to escape. It was hard to believe that there was a time when this orphanage was even worse to live at. Supposedly, 3 or 4 people tried to escape. I don't know the exact number though. They headed to the House of Love and Mercy. Their escape was a success. Except for one unlucky child, they were able to get to the property of the House of Love and Mercy. I guess the staff couldn't follow them into the other orphanage's property. In other words, the other facility's property had to be out of their jurisdiction. Interesting. The staff were frustrated that kids got away from them, and they dragged the one they caught back here. I was sure they wanted to bring back the others who got away from them too. I'm certain the staff were determined not to let a single one escape. It was easy to see that in the obstinate way they locked the place up after that event. But they were never able to bring back the ones that got away. No matter how much the staff were mortified, they couldn't claim the children and punish them. In other words, if you could make it to the House of Love and Mercy, then you could escape the evil clutches from this hell.
I can't believe they have their own version of Carl from Deep Rock Galactic.
Yeah?
Yeah. You don't know what Carl is?
No.
Oh, I forgot that you can play a lot. The dwarves all talk about Carl, who was the greatest dwarf to ever live and bought himself out of working for management. When, it's basically just something management made up to have everyone, rally against and, hope for and, hope to be.
Wow. Crazy.
That was crazy once.
On the other hand, the one they caught went through such misery afterwards, yet the exact details of how he was punished were never passed down. All that remained were ominous phrases left by those who knew him at the time. The drowned ducky, the mashed caterpillar, the splayed piggy. I can't even imagine what kind of punishments they were. The only thing I can say is that those punishments were supposed to be far more harsh than the casket punishment, which was the most cruel punishment I knew at the time. I can only imagine how horrible those punishments were from their ominous names. After that, the captured kid's wish came true, and he was able to leave the orphanage. Was he able to leave this orphanage safely and enjoy his freedom while breathing in fresh air under the blue sky? Well, according to the rumors, that wasn't what happened at all.
While he was playing in the boiler room, he slipped and fell, injured his brain, and died.
The children were all instructed not to go into the boiler room after that incident. Everyone knew the boiler room was always locked. So everyone knew he was killed. Not just that. He was killed after being tortured. He was killed to teach the other children that they would face hell on earth if they tried to escape. Yet those who faced that risk made it out. Obtained ordinary average lives full of love and mercy's namesake, which were far better conditions than we lived in here. Maybe the House of Love and Mercy was really heaven. Maybe all the orphanages were pretty much the same. But compared to my orphanage, I bet anything else would have been better. Even if someone escaped successfully, the police would catch him. Then he'd be sent back to the orphanage, which would be pretty much the same thing as being killed. However, if he could reach the House of Love and Mercy, they'd take him in. They wouldn't send him back. By talking about escaping the House of Love and Mercy, we were trying to forget how cruel reality was to us. Then one day, the leader of our group, Eriko, said to us quietly,
Would you try and escape if you had a chance to?
Who didn't want to escape from here? It was a rather foolish question, but that wasn't what she meant. If there was a chance to escape, would you take the chance knowing that what you had to go through if you got caught? That was what she meant. Not one of us could answer immediately. If the previous escape incident was a total success, then we might have thought differently. But after that, the orphanage had tightened up security to prevent runaways. All the doors and windows were locked heavily, and it wouldn't be easy to get out. It wouldn't at all be easy to get out. Even if another group escape was planned, the success rate would be very low. 3 escaped and 1 was caught before. Maybe 2 would be caught next time. No, maybe everyone would be.
Context.
If I could, I want to escape.
But the House of Love and Mercy is so far away. The bridge is long too. We'll all be caught before we get there.
Besides, we can't even go outside. Everything is locked up. There are locks all over the orphanage. To escape, you need a key for both the inside and the outside. And after the lights were turned off, even each section of the hallway is individually locked. Make no mistake, this was a prison. According to the rumors, orphanages received government funding dependent on the number of children they house. So if anyone escapes, they lose money. Also, if we were to expose the conditions at the orphanage, they would end up being inspected, and things would get complicated for them. That's why we were so intent on keeping. That's why they were so intent on keeping us locked up. Sure, if there was a chance, I would want to escape, but realistically, there's no way we could. Every door is locked.
Well, did you know the hen house in the courtyard uses the same key as the door to the back stairs?
Huh? Really?
Shh.
Eriko shushed us. Sometimes, mass-produced locks take the same key. Of course, most places use different types of locks so that this wouldn't happen. But the staff of the orphanage must have overlooked it. So there were 2 locks that used the same key at the orphanage. However, most of us never had the chance to even touch the keys. But there were a few exceptions. One of those was the hen house. Each room group took turns taking care of different chores. If your group was assigned to clean the hen house, you'd have to get the key to it from the teacher's office. You were supposed to return the key immediately after you were done. But after taking care of the hen house, the key was in the children's hands. While the staff would occasionally come around to check, they wouldn't keep an eye on us forever. Eriko-chan, you aren't thinking about using that key, are you?
Let's not. It's too dangerous. Of course it's dangerous if there's only one of us. But it's different if we're in a group.
Wait, why?
Do you know why only 1 kid was caught the last time they tried to escape?
They were desperate, and so to escape as a group, they did something to increase the chance of success. That was why only 3 of them were caught.
1.
One of them were caught. What did they do?
They scattered as they ran. They dashed in different directions. They waited until the day when there were only a few people working at the orphanage and ran this way and that.
And so, although it all depended on luck, it would increase the chance of success for sure. On your own, you'd probably have no hope, but if the staff were to chase after other children, then your own chance of escaping successfully would increase. In other words, Eriko was inviting us to escape with her. The more children joined, the more each of our chances would increase. But among us, there were children who tattled to the staff for their own benefit. So she had to be very careful about who she talked to. Eriko must have trusted us a lot. Eriko, me, Tomomi, and Kikuko. 4 children.
Do any of you want to stay here a day longer?
The 3 of us shook our heads, but at the same time, we couldn't agree to escape with her either. Of course we don't want to stay here a day longer, or even an hour longer.
Even if we did the exact same thing as we did yesterday, we might get yelled at tomorrow. I can't stand this anymore. I can't stand... Oh, this might be Eriko. I can't stand living in fear of what to do and what not to do, so I won't be yelled at.
We all feel the same way. We could endure strict rules, but it's almost impossible to endure vague ones. It wasn't too much of a stretch to say that the rules depended on the mood of the staff. This is okay, that isn't okay. Such borderline rules change daily. And if we were to say anything about that, we would be treated horribly for it.
I will escape, even if I have to do it alone. Like I said, the more people that join, the better our chance. Think about it. If they find out about this henhouse key trick, they are sure to change the locks on the back door. In other words, we only have 1 chance. So even if you regret not joining in later, it'll be too late.
another one.
But, I'm scared.
I'm scared too. If we get caught, we'll be killed.
Tomomi and Kikuko weren't the only ones who felt afraid. The fear was perfectly understandable, because all of a sudden, the fear of the punishment that would follow had become very realistic. I'm sure Eriko felt the same way too, but her courage was suppressing her fear, and because of that, she shared her idea with us.
So, do you plan to stay here forever?
No way.
I know you're scared, but this isn't the only chance we have.
This is.
Oh, this is the only chance we have. You have to be brave enough just this once. What about you, Miyoko? Don't you want to go with me?
Unlike Tomomi and Kikuko, I wasn't trembling that much. Of course, I was scared in my own way, but compared to the other two, I must have appeared rather calm. Can we really escape? Of course, Eriko couldn't guarantee our success, but I had to ask her anyway.
There's no guarantee, but if you join me, I'll have a better chance of escaping than trying to run away on my own. Of course, the same goes for you too.
Eriko gave a calculated reason, but I'm sure she just wanted a friend to agree with her. That was probably more important to her than increasing her chances to escape.
Tomomi.
Kikuko.
Tomomi, Kikuko, if you're too scared, then I won't force you. Miyoko and I will escape ourselves. 2 is enough. Well...
Eriko rushed the two to make up their minds. It almost looked cold, but that was her way of mustering their courage. Because it was very possible that, regardless of the outcome of our escape attempt, as our roommates, those two would be held responsible.
It's not like we'll do it tomorrow. Our turn to take care of the hen house is in a week. We'll wait for the perfect time to do it. If we'll feel that it's safe, then we'll wait until our next turn. We'll be very careful.
The rotation of the staff and the timing were important, but we also each had to know the way to the House of Love and Mercy. We were planning to split up, so we had
to know the area.
Had to know the area. I made up my mind. Okay, I'm coming with you, but let's time our escape very carefully, okay?
Of course. We'll be killed if we get caught. I don't want to die. I'll come too.
You take that one.
Me too. Tomomi and Kikuko agreed, and so we all decided to escape as a group. We waited for the perfect opportunity. We waited for the day where only a few staff members were at the orphanage, and we decided to let God take care of the rest.
It's open!
Maybe it was the way I did it.
Oh, whoops.
Eriko tried to open the lock several times without success, but I got it open the first attempt. The back door opened slowly, and we felt a cool breeze. This wasn't the world of freedom just yet. In fact, it was the exact opposite. If the staff were to find out we were here, we would be in big trouble with the world. It was a world of danger. But unless we went through the dangerous world, we wouldn't be able to go any further. Okay, let's go.
Okay, let's go.
I think Eriko wanted to say that. We were planning to leave with that as our cue, but what we heard instead wasn't Eriko's voice.
What are you kids doing there?
We started to run. It was raining. We all got soaked immediately and our clothes stuck to our skin. While that would normally be very uncomfortable, we couldn't even stop to think about it. We could only keep running in the rain. We were dashing on gravel, but it felt more like trudging through a muddy rice field. My feet kept sinking in, and I couldn't pull them up. I was frustrated because no matter how fast I tried to run, I wasn't gaining any speed. I felt a sense of urgency. I heard somebody yelling, "Escape," behind me, and all I could do was run like crazy.
Okay, everyone go in different directions. Scatter! Come on, scatter!
With Eriko's cue, we all went in different ways, hoping they wouldn't come after us. Would we be able to unify safely at the House of Love and Mercy? All 4 of us were together, or maybe someone would be missing. No, maybe everyone else would make it, and I'd be the one who gets caught. My thoughts were interrupted by the voice of a staff member coming from behind me.
Hold it! Wait! Hold it right there!
The staff members would have number fewer than us. So, if I was lucky, they wouldn't be coming after me. Praying that the staff voices I heard in the distance weren't after me, I looked back for a moment. If I had time to turn around, why didn't I take another step forward? Why didn't I try to escape further? As I turned around, I felt a huge hand cover my face. Its pinky finger slipped into my open mouth. The hand grabbing my face shoved me into the muddy gravel. Of course, I didn't stay quiet. I fought back. Then I saw his face. It was the scariest face I'd ever seen. I realized immediately. He only wanted to capture me alive to use me as an example. And considering what would happen to me afterwards, killing me here on the spot wouldn't pose any problem, would it? Yes. He looked at me with unworldly hate, ready to end my life here and now. His pinky finger ended up touching my tongue. The indescribable nasty taste sent an icky feeling through my whole body. Ah, that's it. This is what my murder tastes like. He was going to shove that finger down my windpipe and suffocate me. And so in order to live, I fought back in the only way I could. Something warm filled my mouth. It felt like swallowing blood after a nosebleed. I spit it from my mouth and ran without turning around, leaving behind the staff member clutching his pinky finger.
You little shit! Damn you! I'll kill you!
I heard his roars echoing behind me. It wasn't a man that was after me. It was a beast. He had no interest in capturing me. His only goal was to see me dead. My shoes had slipped off. They weren't sneakers, so they came off easily while I was running like mad. My bare feet struck gravel over and over. It was painful, but I didn't care. Because if I stopped, I knew what would happen to me. Tree branches cut my face, and barbed wires scratched my thighs. My feet and toes were bloody from running on gravel. The blood from the staff member's pinky dripped down from my mouth, staining my chin and chest. I was running for my life, with scratches and cuts all over my body. If I were to get caught, I'd be killed. If my pursuer had any sense, then I would be killed after being tortured. But if he didn't, I'd be killed on the spot. I don't want to be killed. I don't want to be killed. My lungs and heart were about to explode. My mind was blank from fear and lack of oxygen. I was about to lose consciousness. I might have given in. If I didn't hear the voice of a staff member coming after me. My knees were shaking. My legs didn't move properly. I felt like I was going to fall like a puppet without strings. But I couldn't fall. I couldn't fall just yet. It was too late. My face had hit the gravel. I felt the awful sensation of falling. Immediately after, the roar of the beast came coming from behind me.
Damn you! My finger! My finger!
Wah! I must have hit my thigh against the steering wheel when I jumped. I can feel the throbbing pain, delayed slightly. I'm sweating all over. I wiped the sweat from my forehead and put my hand on my chest, only then realizing how fast my heart was beating. I rubbed my thigh. I rubbed it in a straight line. That's not where I hit the steering wheel, but I feel like that's where it hurts. I can't see the scary beast in the moonlit car. I have my shoes on, and I'm not covered in blood. My toes are fine too. Someone knocked on the window, startling me.
Okay.
Someone.
Major, it's time.
Oh, thank you. I wanted to take a nap, so I told him to come wake me up in an hour. Maybe an hour was too long. Too long a nap actually makes you tired. I put my seat back up and got out of the car. The cool breeze feels good on my skin. I only see the moon. There's nothing else to see on the mountain trail. My car and a command vehicle disguised as a trailer are parked on the side of the street. I can still feel the bad taste in my mouth. I spat it out on the side of the street, but even that couldn't get rid of it. The taste of blood, saliva, and rain. Sweat from my forehead and raindrops got into my mouth, but I couldn't swallow, so I ended up drooling. That sensation around my lips brought back memories, and I tried to wipe my mouth. Whew. Maybe I'm nervous. That's why I had such a bad dream. I think there is a coffee machine in the command vehicle. An unpleasant cup of coffee will wake me up. So, has anything happened yet?
No, not yet. We just got Gifu's scheduled check-in. Everything is okay over there.
I see. Hey, could someone make me a cup of coffee?
Sure. Cream and sugar.
Just cream, please. No. Put in some sugar, too. I still have a bad taste in my mouth. The feeling of biting and crushing his little finger, and his filthy blood filling my mouth. I'm sure a sweeter cup of coffee will wash down that bad taste, and also wake me up from the nightmare completely. There you go. The house in love of love and mercy. Experience a memory of escape.
No new tips! Takano, I can't wait for this to be the Takano chapter.
Well then.
What a great... I was gonna make a convention joke. I couldn't figure it out. I was trying so hard. That's a good-ass first chapter to start on.
Yeah.
That's a very good cold open.
Alright, man. Alright, people. Alright, everybody.
Next week, Anime Week in Atlanta.
Woo.